What if the most dangerous man in your city wasn't just a shadow in the night, but the one person who could save you? And what if, to save yourself, you had to reveal a truth that could destroy him? Tonight, we dive into an incredible true story. A story where a desperate woman, bleeding and broken, stumbled into the guarded world of a powerful crime boss. She wasn't a victim seeking shelter, but a messenger carrying a secret that would shake his empire to its core. This isn't just about survival, it's about destiny. And what happened next will change everything. Kirill Volkov. A name whispered with fear and respect. He built his empire on relentless will, cold decisions, and silence. His life was a fortress, impenetrable, a machine of order. Every move was part of a meticulous plan, honed over years. His nights were predictable, his mind always one step ahead. Until tonight. Tonight, something broke through his perfectly constructed world, something entirely unforeseen. A sound, faint but insistent, from beyond his reinforced doors. A desperate knocking in his opulent domain. It was a disturbance, an anomaly in his managed existence, a ripple in his impenetrable world. This wasn't a planned meeting, not a business deal. This was chaos, raw and uninvited, knocking at his door. And chaos, for Kirill Volkov, was an enemy he always prepared to eliminate. He expected an intruder, a threat he could dispatch. He expected a challenge to his authority. But what he found was far more dangerous, far more unexpected, and utterly disarming in its vulnerability and boldness. The air around him seemed to crackle with unspoken tension. Kirill, I know your secrets. The words hung in the sterile air of Kirill's foyer, thick with the scent of blood and profound mystery. Kirill Volkov, a man who had faced down assassins and weathered countless betrayals without a flicker of fear, felt a prickle of something unfamiliar. Not fear, but a cold, calculating curiosity mixed with a dangerous spark of intrigue. His mind instantly registered the gravity of her statement, the shocking claim that breached his carefully guarded existence. This woman, fragile and broken at his feet, was not just a victim. She was holding a fuse, ready to ignite something he could not control, something that threatened the very foundations of his empire. She wasn't just at his doorstep seeking help. She was at the very threshold of his deepest, most guarded world, ready to light it all on fire. Who was she? What deep, hidden secrets did she claim to know about him, about his operations, his inner circle? And why, against all odds, did she choose his door, the lair of the most dangerous man in the city? The clock had started ticking, loud and clear. Kirill Volkov, for the first time in a long time, was on a path he hadn't chosen, a path that twisted between overwhelming suspicion and an unsettling, undeniable pull towards the enigma at his feet. His world of absolute certainty had just been shattered, and he had a terrifying feeling it would never be the same again. Who are you? How do you know my name? Anya Petrova. And I know about the Black Hand. And what you plan for the port. The words hit Kirill like a physical blow, sharper than any fist. The Black Hand. A secret organization known only to a trusted few within his highly compartmentalized network. A name whispered only in the deepest shadows, carefully guarded from all outsiders. And the port, his most critical current operation, a multi-million-dollar venture involving immense risks, shielded with absolute secrecy. This woman, Anya Petrova, knew too much. Far too much for a stranger to simply stumble upon. His world, so meticulously ordered, so rigidly controlled, was suddenly off-kilter, spinning dangerously. Two imposing guards, Vasily and Mikhail, stood like statues, unmoving, their weapons ready, waiting for the command. Kirill's mind raced, analyzing every angle, every possible scenario, every hidden motive. Was this a calculated trap? A desperate plea? Or something far more complex? A genuine warning carrying unimaginable consequences? Her words demanded immediate, decisive action. Vasily, Mikhail, secure the perimeter. No one in, no one out. Check every camera, every shadow. I want to know if she was followed. And you, explain yourself. Now, every detail. I was there, at the warehouse. I saw them. The plans, the betrayal. They tried to kill me. The warehouse. The very place where Kirill's most sensitive information was stored. A location meant to be impenetrable. The betrayal. This wasn't just a random person stumbling upon a convenient secret. This was someone directly involved. A witness to a deep conspiracy that threatened to unravel everything he had painstakingly built. A cold, hard knot of suspicion tightened in Kirill's gut, mingling with dangerous anger. He had known there was a leak, a snake in his ranks, but he had been unable to pinpoint the source. He never imagined a woman, a fragile stranger covered in her own blood, would be the one to bring him the damning truth. Her story, though still incomplete, was unfolding, piece by agonizing piece, each revelation more shocking than the last, building a terrifying picture in his mind. He knelt, slightly, keeping his distance, maintaining his predatory control, but close enough to see the details of her suffering, the raw truth reflected in her terrified eyes, the way her small frame trembled despite her fierce will to speak. Who tried to kill you? Who are they? Be specific. Every name you know. Your lieutenant. Victor. He's working with the Vipers. They want to take the port from you. Tonight. I heard them. Everything. They left me for dead. They thought I was gone. Victor. A name Kirill had trusted implicitly. A man who had been with him for years. A loyal shadow at his side. The Vipers. A rival crew known for their ruthlessness, their cunning, and their insatiable ambition to usurp Kirill's power. The pieces were starting to click into place, forming a terrifying mosaic of treachery and imminent danger. A betrayal from within, an attack planned for tonight, at his most vulnerable point, threatening his entire empire, and this wounded woman, Anya, as the only witness, bringing him critical, life-saving intelligence. He looked at her, truly looked at her, and for the first time, he saw past the blood and fear, past her obvious vulnerability. He saw courage, a desperate defiance that brought her, against all odds, to his doorstep. He saw something rare, an unexpected ally, a beacon of truth in a sea of lies, a spark of pure, unyielding will. Get her to the medical wing. Now. Send for Dr. Anya immediately. Tell the doctor it's a priority one. And you, Vasily, monitor all communications, internal and external. Lock down the entire estate. No one is to know she is here. Her presence is a ghost. Kirill's orders were swift, decisive, cutting through the tense silence. The shift in his demeanor was almost imperceptible, but it was there. A subtle tightening of his jaw, a new, dangerous intensity in his eyes. The initial shock and suspicion had given way to cold fury and a dangerous new resolve that hardened his features. He had a traitor in his midst, an attack imminent, and a woman who held the key to both. He couldn't trust her entirely yet, his instincts screaming caution, but he couldn't afford not to listen, not to protect her. As Vasily gently, but firmly, lifted Anya, careful of her wounds, her eyes met Kirill's one last time. In his dark, piercing gaze, she saw not just danger and ruthless calculation, but a fierce, possessive glint, a silent promise. He wouldn't let her die. Not before he got all the answers. Not before he understood the full scope of Victor's treachery. And certainly not before he decided what to do with the woman who knew too much. His secrets were hers, and now, perhaps, she was irrevocably his. The game had changed. The silence in the medical bay was different from the chilling, strategic silence in the rest of the mansion. Here, it hummed with anticipation, with unanswered questions, and with a strange, undeniable tension between two strangers now bound by a deadly secret. Anya, now recovering, her wounds cleaned and expertly bandaged, the painkillers dulling the sharp edge of her physical pain, was no longer just a bleeding woman on his floor. She was a puzzle piece, vital and dangerously exposed, a central figure in a treacherous game she barely understood. Kirill had ordered her saved, not out of kindness, for kindness was a weakness he rarely afforded, but out of necessity, a cold, calculated move to secure a crucial asset. He needed answers, every single detail, and he needed to know if she could truly be trusted, if her loyalty could be swayed, or if she was merely a desperate pawn. He still watched her, a silent, unyielding presence by the door, his gaze unwavering, dissecting every twitch, every shallow breath, searching for any sign of deception. "You said Victor. Explain how you know him. What was your connection to the warehouse beyond just following your brother? Be precise, Anya. Your life, and perhaps your brother's, depends on your honesty." "My brother, Leo. He owed money. A lot of money. To Victor. Victor offered him a way out, a job that seemed too good to be true, a lifeline in a desperate situation. He said it was simple, just moving papers, keeping an eye on things. He explicitly said it was for you, Kirill. Leo was desperate, and I tried to help him, to protect him, to keep him out of deeper trouble. I even went with him sometimes, thinking I could watch over him." A new piece of the puzzle, cold and sharp, clicked into place for Kirill. Her brother. A vulnerability Kirill instantly registered, a raw nerve he could exploit or protect. This wasn't just about her survival. It was about saving someone else, a deeply ingrained familial bond. He understood that motivation, the fierce loyalty that drove people to desperate acts. He also understood how easily such powerful emotions could be twisted, exploited, and weaponized by men like Victor. Anya was a pawn, yes, but a valuable one, with a depth of character he found unexpectedly compelling. Her story, though still incomplete, resonated with the familiar patterns of manipulation and crushing debt that fueled the darkest corners of his world. "So you were a spy? An informant for Victor?" "Admit it." "No. I swear to you, no. I went to the warehouse that night because Leo was supposed to meet Victor there. He seemed scared, unusually quiet, distant for days. I had a terrible feeling. I followed him, trying to be careful, unseen. I thought I could make sure he was okay, maybe even make a small payment towards his debt. I hid in the shadows of the crates when I heard Victor and the Vipers discussing the attack on the port. They spoke of routes, weaknesses in your security. They saw me. I made a sound, a small gasp. They shot me. I ran. I just ran, blindly, through the woods, barely holding on to consciousness, not knowing where else to go. I just knew I had to tell someone. I had to warn you, the only person powerful enough to stop them." The image of Anya, bleeding and terrified, fleeing through the brutal, unforgiving night, resonated with a brutal reality Kirill knew all too well. She wasn't a calculated spy. She was a desperate sister, caught in a web of deceit. This changed things dramatically in Kirill's assessment. It didn't make her less dangerous in terms of the secrets she held, but it made her more human, more relatable in a way he hadn't anticipated. He saw the genuine terror in her eyes as she recounted the escape, the raw truth in her trembling hands, the faint tremor that still ran through her body despite the medication. Her resolve, despite her pain and fear, was startling. And Leo? Where is he now? What happened after you were shot? Did you see him again? My voice cracks with fear, a dry sob escaping my throat. I don't know. He was supposed to meet me after. He never showed. Victor. He said he would make an example of anyone who talked. Leo is probably dead, Kirill. Because of me. The despair in her voice was visceral, real, a profound grief that pierced the sterile air. Kirill watched her closely, his gaze like a predator's. He could read people, tell a lie from a truth in a heartbeat. Anya was telling the truth. Her brother was a loose end, a potential weakness that could be exploited by his enemies. But also, a powerful leverage point. He could offer her safety, ultimate protection, if she proved truly useful. And the thought of her, vulnerable, relying solely on him, stirred something within him he rarely acknowledged. A primal, dangerous sense of possessiveness, an instinct to claim and to guard. If your information is correct, Anya, and all my intelligence suggests it is, Victor will move tonight. The Vipers will attack the port. My men are already there, in position, but they don't know about the betrayal from within. This changes everything. It turns a defense into an ambush. You have to stop them. Kirill, please. Victor said he knew all your defenses, every hidden camera, every patrol route, every blind spot. He said he had people on the inside, deep within your organization. They planned to catch your men off guard, to burn it all down, to seize the port in a bloody takeover. The urgency in her voice was undeniable, her fear for him genuine. Kirill's jaw tightened, his cold fury now fully ignited. This wasn't just about business anymore. It was about a direct assault on his power, his reputation, his very foundation, a personal affront. It was an insult, a challenge to his absolute authority, a threat to his very existence. And this woman, Anya, with her secrets and her vulnerability, was now inextricably linked to his survival, to the fate of his empire. He could crush Victor, that was certain, and he would do so with brutal efficiency. But he could also protect Anya, shield her from the fallout, keep her close. The idea was unsettling, intriguing, a new variable in his carefully controlled equation. He made a silent, unshakable promise. Victor would pay, slowly and painfully. And Anya, whether she knew it or not, was now under his protection. A dangerous, possessive protection that came with a heavy, unspoken cost. He would find her brother, for his own strategic reasons, for the leverage it provided, but also for her. A silent, powerful agreement was forged in the charged air between them, a bond made of danger and raw, unacknowledged desire. Her life, her brother's life, and his empire now hung in a delicate balance. The gears of Kirill's empire were turning, shifting from defense to offense with brutal efficiency. The revelation of Victor's betrayal had ignited a cold fire in him, a simmering rage that fueled his every command. He was a man of action, decisive and ruthless, a master strategist, and now, action was imminent. The stakes were impossibly high. His power, his reputation, his absolute control, and the lives of his loyal men. But amidst the tactical discussions, the shouts of orders, a different kind of tension simmered beneath the surface. The image of Anya, pale and vulnerable, yet fiercely defiant and intelligent, remained stubbornly in his mind, a distraction he couldn't afford, but couldn't dismiss. Double the patrols at the North Gate, Vasily. Victor will target the least protected points, the areas he thinks we've neglected. He thinks we're complacent, soft. Prove him wrong. Deploy the counter-snipers to the warehouses overlooking the main dock. Mikhail, prepare the extraction team. If there are any of the Vipers left alive after the operation, I want them talking. Every single one. I want to know who else Victor brought into this conspiracy. Understood, boss. What about the girl? Anya? She is a security risk if she stays unprotected. What are your direct orders regarding her? The question hung in the air, a practical concern from a loyal lieutenant, a reminder of the unexpected variable. Anya. She was a witness, a victim, and a potential liability. But also, she was the key to understanding Victor's full plan. And, unexpectedly, she had become something more. Something Kirill couldn't quite define. Kirill's gaze sharpened, a warning in his eyes that brooked no argument. His men knew him. They knew his ruthlessness. But there was a new edge in his answer, a possessiveness that went beyond mere strategy, bordering on absolute claim. She stays here, under guard, 24 hours a day. No one, absolutely no one, approaches her without my direct, explicit permission. Ensure her safety above all else. She is not to be harmed. She is under my direct protection. My most personal concern. Find Leo. Put every resource into locating her brother. He is a loose end, a vulnerability that needs to be secured, and a weakness we can't afford to leave exposed. Bring him to me, no matter what it takes, dead or alive. The order was clear, unwavering, imbued with absolute finality. She is under my protection. The words were meant for his men, but also, in a strange, silent way, for himself. Kirill knew the dangers of sentiment, the soft spots that could lead to ruin in his brutal world, yet he found himself compelled to shield Anya with an intensity that surprised even him. Not just for the information she held, but for something deeper, something he hadn't felt in years, a primal instinct to guard and claim. Perhaps it was her raw courage, or the sheer audacity of her presence. Or perhaps it was simply the challenge of owning something so inherently wild, so fiercely independent, and so strangely fragile, yet resilient. Leo, where are you? What have I done to you? Anya's internal conflict was immense, a raging storm within her. She had traded one danger for another, escaping the immediate threat of Victor's men only to fall into the powerful, gilded cage of Kirill Volkov. He was her protector, yes, a formidable shield against the darkness outside, but he was also the man whose deepest secrets she had revealed, the man who now, terrifyingly, claimed her as his own. She was safe, for now, surrounded by unimaginable luxury, but she was also a prisoner. The mansion, once an intimidating fortress she only knew by whispered reputation, was now her gilded cage, beautiful and suffocating. She knew she was valuable to Kirill, a pawn in his complex game, but she also knew his protection came with absolute control. And deep down, a strange, undeniable pull towards him was forming, a dangerous fascination with the powerful, silent man who held her fate. He was dangerous, ruthless, but he had also, unequivocally, saved her life. And crucially, he was searching for Leo. This glimmer of hope kept her tethered, even as his possessive gaze made her tremble. The battle for the port was underway, but Kirill's thoughts were elsewhere, divided between the immediate conflict and the woman now confined within his walls. He was a master of strategy, a titan of his domain, but Anya was an unknown variable, a chaotic element he couldn't quite categorize or control. He had given orders to protect her, to find her brother. He had done it for strategic reasons, yes, but also for reasons he hadn't fully acknowledged, reasons that went beyond simple utility. There was a challenge in her, a strength that fascinated him, a fire that burned fiercely beneath her vulnerability. He knew he could keep her safe, but he also knew that once she was truly safe, he might not want to let her go. She had stumbled into his world, bleeding and vulnerable, and somehow, irrevocably, she had become his. This was a dangerous obsession, a new, volatile emotion he had long suppressed, but one he was willing to embrace. The night was far from over, and the profound consequences of Anya's unexpected arrival were just beginning to unfold, threatening to reshape not just his empire, but the very landscape of his guarded heart. His empire was safe, but his heart? That was a battle yet to be fought. The night had been long, brutal, and ultimately a resounding victory for Kirill. His forces had moved with surgical precision, eliminating the Vipers and capturing Victor, whose fate would be decided by Kirill's cold justice. The port was secure, his vast network of operations intact, stronger than ever. Yet, as the first rays of dawn painted the sky, Kirill felt no sense of rest. The real work, the deeper, more personal consequences of Anya's arrival, were only just beginning to truly manifest themselves. He had saved his business, his empire, but he had also, unknowingly, invited a storm into his personal world. A storm with dark, intelligent eyes and a haunting, vulnerable past that now consumed his thoughts. The port is secure. Victor is handled in a way that ensures he will never threaten my operations again. Your information was accurate, Anya. Crucially accurate. It saved lives and prevented a catastrophic loss. And Leo? Did you find him? Please, tell me you found him. I need to know. The question was raw, urgent, a desperate plea torn from her soul. Anya's entire world revolved around her brother, her fierce loyalty to him a core part of her being. Kirill saw it, recognized the powerful bond. It was a quality he admired, even as it complicated his strategic calculations, adding a human element he rarely factored in. He had promised to look for Leo, to throw his immense resources into the search, but the city was vast, dangerous. He chose his words carefully, weighing the impact. We are still looking, Anya. My men are thorough, the best at what they do. They will find him, dead or alive. We will have answers soon. That is my promise to you. Dead? No. He can't be. Kirill, please tell me he's alive. He cuts her off, his voice firm, asserting control over her burgeoning grief. We will know soon. Until then, you remain here, in this mansion. You are safe from the Vipers, from anyone who would seek to harm you for what you know. But let there be no doubt, the Vipers will want revenge. They know you spoke to me. You are a target, an extremely valuable one. And so, you remain here, under my watchful eye. Kirill's declaration was not a suggestion. It was an unequivocal order. He saw the flicker of fear in Anya's eyes, the profound conflict warring within her soul. She desperately wanted her freedom, but she also wanted safety, absolute safety, especially for Leo. He offered both, but on his terms. His protection was absolute, a fortress against the cruel, dangerous world she had glimpsed, but so was his control over her. She was no longer just a witness. She was under his wing, entwined with his fate. And he fully intended to keep her there, forever. I can't stay here forever, Kirill. I have my own life, my own debts, my own responsibilities. I can't be a prisoner in this golden cage. Your debts? Your problems? You are forgetting a crucial detail, Anya. You came to my door, bleeding, with my secrets. You brought your problems into my life. And by doing so, your problems are now my problems. And my solutions are absolute, final. As for your life, you have a new one now. Here, with me. This is your reality, Anya. A reality I have created for you. The words hung in the air, a possessive declaration that sent a chill down Anya's spine, even as it ignited a strange, unsettling spark of something else within her. Fear, yes, a primal, visceral fear of his absolute power, but also a dangerous thrill, an undeniable attraction to the man who commanded such authority. He wasn't just offering protection, he was claiming her, asserting an ownership that transcended simple gratitude or strategic necessity. She was his, to safeguard, to control, to command, her fate irrevocably tied to his. Her fierce independence chafed against the golden chains he placed around her, yet the raw power and undeniable magnetism she felt towards him were difficult to ignore. He was a force of nature, a storm she was caught in, and she was caught, willingly or not, in his powerful orbit. He steps closer to the bed, his shadow falling over her, enveloping her. He reaches out, his large hand gently brushing a stray strand of dark hair from her face, his touch unexpected, surprisingly soft, yet firm, leaving no doubt as to its intent. You hold information valuable to my enemies, and you are, in ways you don't yet understand, valuable to me. I will ensure your safety, Anya. Absolute safety. And if Leo is alive, I will find him and bring him to you. But you will stay, and you will be mine. Completely. There is no other path for you now. The words were a promise and a threat, entwined in a potent, dangerous cocktail that promised both salvation and a loss of self. Anya looked into his dark, piercing eyes, seeing a depth she hadn't expected, a fierce intensity that mirrored her own burgeoning feelings. He was ruthless, undeniably dangerous, but there was also an intense focus, an undeniable magnetism that pulled her in, a gravitational force she couldn't resist. She knew he meant every single word. She was trapped, yes, but not entirely unwillingly. The danger outside was real, constant, and the protection he offered was immense. But the biggest danger, she realized, might not be the Vipers, or Victor, or the secrets she carried. The biggest danger might be the man himself. His unwavering obsession, his absolute power, and the terrifying, captivating way he made her feel, caught between fear and a captivating desire that grew stronger with each passing day. Her fate was sealed. She was Kirill's, and the journey of her transformation had truly begun. The search for Leo, her beloved brother, would continue, a constant, underlying current to their evolving, complex relationship. But for now, in the opulent silence of Kirill's mansion, their destinies were inextricably intertwined, bound by blood, secrets, and a powerful, forbidden attraction that threatened to consume them both. And so, the sun set and rose countless times in Kirill's sprawling mansion, each day weaving a new thread into their complex tapestry, solidifying their dangerous bond. Anya's brother, Leo, was found, eventually. Not entirely unharmed, the shadows of the criminal underworld having left their mark on his soul, but he was alive, thanks to Kirill's relentless resources and unwavering resolve. Leo was free, able to rebuild his life away from the dangerous currents that had almost consumed him, forever indebted. Anya, however, remained. Her initial defiance slowly softened, not broken, but transformed, replaced by a complex understanding and a strange, undeniable bond with the man who had claimed her as his own. She found her strength not in escape, but in navigating the perilous depths of Kirill's world, learning its brutal rules, and becoming an equal in spirit to the dangerous man who protected her. She learned to use her intelligence, her wit, and her unique perspective to her advantage, proving herself an invaluable asset. Kirill, in turn, remained formidable, his empire expanding, his control absolute, his power unchallenged. But his world, once cold and purely strategic, now held a fiercely guarded warmth, a possessive devotion for the woman who knew his deepest secrets, and, in doing so, had unlocked a part of him he thought long dead and buried forever. He found himself confiding in her, listening to her counsel, seeking her insights, seeing the world through her eyes, A new dimension added to his ruthless calculations, softening the edges of his hardened heart. Their story became a testament to how destiny can twist fear into fascination, how a desperate stumble can lead to an unexpected sanctuary, and how a forced alliance can forge an unbreakable, passionate bond that defies all logic. Anya, the woman covered in blood at his doorstep, had not just brought him secrets, she had brought him a new purpose, a new reason to protect and to possess, a reason beyond power or territory. Her transformation was complete, from victim to confidant, from prisoner to queen of his formidable domain. And Kirill, the cold, calculating crime boss, found himself irrevocably changed. His life no longer just about power, but about the woman who held his heart in her hands. If Anya's dramatic journey into Kirill Volkov's dangerous world captivated you, if her story of survival, betrayal, and unexpected love resonated with something deep inside, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next incredible true story. We meticulously research and craft narratives that delve into the human heart, testing the limits of loyalty, love, and what it means to truly survive. We want to hear from you, our amazing community. What do you think of Anya's ultimate choice to stay with Kirill? Was his possessive protection a genuine form of love, a harsh but necessary safeguard? Or was it simply a gilded cage she eventually learned to call home, finding power within its confines? What moral dilemmas did you see unfolding in their complex relationship? Have you ever faced a situation where safety, security, or even a chance at love came at the cost of personal freedom or your most deeply held principles? Share your thoughts, your opinions, and your own experiences with tough choices and unexpected alliances in the comments below. We love hearing your perspectives, engaging in meaningful discussions, and building this vibrant community of story lovers and thoughtful observers. Your insights enrich our understanding of these complex tales. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep questioning the lines between right and wrong, between love and obsession, in the incredible stories that shape our world.